a lot of other factors start coming in. So for example, auspicious timing, which is where festivals come into it. So Shubh Din. So, you've got that, you want to buy a car. If nothing else, you need to take delivery on a good day. Festivals do allow you to splurge, right? Permission to play.
It's a new beginning, and that refrigerator that you buy or the TV that you buy is not so much the TV, but it's a sign of hope.
Tomorrow's better than yesterday.
There's a large portion of the sale, but in India it's a little different. It's almost spiritual. It's almost religious.
Hi, and welcome back to the I'm Blown podcast. Siddharth and I are back with you to talk a little bit about something interesting today. Over 40% of India's sales happen in a few festival weeks. That's a little mind-blowing stat that both of us uncovered, and we're going to peel the layers off it and talk about it today.
Over 40%. There's a simple answer to that. Every day in India there's a festival.
That's one way of looking at it.
That's one way of looking at it.
Absolutely.
Right? If it is, then 40 is less, isn't it? But no, jokes apart, I think it's quite a large number. And I think for some categories, it might be even more than 40%.
It would be.
Right?
It would be, for
we
sure.
don't have the data, but for some categories, it's likely to be greater than 40%. And I think what I'd like to peel and understand a little bit better, I think there is festival buying in other parts of the world as well. Now, whether it's 40%, 50%.
Yeah, Christmas sales and all of that. Yeah.
But I think in India, there's some unique factors that drive this. And I think that's what I sort of want to open up. And I think these factors lie both from a demand side, which is a consumer need side, but also market forces pushing that through. And I think it'd be good to sort of peel both of those up.
So you know very often, I mean, just to try and create a little frame for this, purchasing in most categories is either driven by need or price discounts or lifestyle ambition, wants, desires. And these are the broad categories, and the world over, broadly speaking, these are the three drivers that makes most product sales happen.
Right.
In India, a lot of other factors start coming in. So for example, auspicious timing, right? Which is where festivals come into it. So Shubh Din. So, you've got that, you want to buy a car. If nothing else, you need to take delivery on a good day.
Correct.
Even if you make the purchase on a different day. There's family and social drivers. Especially if it's a product or an asset which is going to be visible to the outside world, you start thinking about my wife's birthday, my husband's this, my father, a gift here and there. Very, very, very emotional things. In any case, Indians, all of us are very emotional people. So the emotion part of it comes in strongly as well.
True. So let's open some of these up, right? Let's start with the Shubh Din. I think this is the cadence of Shubh and Shraddh, which is moments or parts of the months or parts of the year that you cannot buy and parts of the year that you can buy, right? And clearly festivals largely, there are some that have, where you're not supposed to buy, but festivals largely is a lot more Shubh Din. So Dhanteras, for example, Diwali, for example, is known to be a time when you actually will spend a little bit more money, you'll host people, you'll paint your house, or for that matter, the stock market is
Exactly.
open.
Wow, absolutely.
Because there is a belief that, if you start your financial journey on Diwali, that's likely to give you greater luck and greater prosperity. As
Lakshmi, very important trigger there. Yeah.
It's religious, it's spiritual, it's rooted in India that, there are times when you can sort of let go, and especially in a country where austerity, subsistence, living with your means is still highly codified in this country. So I think Shubh Din, Diwali that could be one of the reasons why a lot of purchase.
And as we keep talking about, and we've kind of hit this little button several times in the last few episodes, Sid, is this emotional factor that's very much true with most Indians. You're not just buying a product, you're not just during festivals, you're really in some senses buying an upgradation.
Yes.
It's almost like I've now arrived, I'm going on to level next and then next and so on. And some of this, that has to be conspicuous consumption, because that's the way, upgradation works. And I think that drives a lot of when I do things as well, because that's when the window of the world is open and everyone's looking at each other. And so if you've bought it at that time, Diwali
Got
or
it.
whatever's the big festival, it'll get noticed more. So, that everyone's looking out, oh, इन्होंने दिवाली पे क्या किया? What did they do? It's like gifting. You and I would have experienced, a lot of people do big gifting at Diwali.
Correct.
So, and what kind of gift you give or get is straight away a trigger of where they are at a particular stage in their life.
So it's some form of social signaling. So I'm going to stir the pot a little bit, right? And here's a probably controversial sort of point I'm going to make, and I'm trying to get your point of view on this one. In India, we do value austerity. We do value that, you live within your means. You don't overextend. You maximize everything. We spoke about this even in one of the small pack, where we said people buy small pack for portion control. It's a sign of saying, listen, I'm going to control my spends. But that's not inherently human. We are suppressing ourselves. So is it that the festivals give us a reason to be inherently human and
that's an interesting thought.
narcissistic selves?
Yeah, that's interesting.
I'm stirring the pot. What do you think?
Two things. I think number one, this austerity thing is slightly changing.
Okay.
I think we're beginning to see ourselves in a different way. But I think, yes, festivals do allow you to splurge.
Permission to play.
Right? Permission to play. And as a result, you're in a position that, it's that classic, Diwali pe nahi karenge to kab karenge? It's that kind of feeling. So I think I agree with you, though I think overall the austerity bit is kind of beginning to get watered down as a lifestyle anyway.
I think so too, but you know what? I'm still shocked by, some of the business families that I see. They have all the wealth, but there is this, let's not overly show the wealth. Let's control our spends. Everyone in the household, because it's a business family, gets a certain amount of pocket money. It's well controlled. So maybe, there is a sense of austerity coming down, but I still think it's very rooted in India in many parts.
And the other thing that you touched upon about the stock markets being open, and people do think of Diwali as actually the beginning of the financial year, so to speak. I think there's also an overall sense at that time of the year that tomorrow is going to be better than yesterday. However, whatever yesterday may have been like, tomorrow will be better. So there's an overall optimism. And optimism brings with it a certain amount of splurginess, if I can call it, right? That let's spend a little more, we'll earn a little more, and there's a general sense of optimism.
And that's so true. We spoke about this in the past, where you said, while we've been known to be a fatalistic society, but we're not short of hope.
Always.
And therefore festivals give you that,
Always.
this is time to think of a new future, think of something different. Yes, I do think there's the Shubh Din. I also think there is this emotion at play and the right time to sort of show it. But actually, sometimes it's purely rational. And let me explain this, right? So in India, most of our festivals happen, they're harvest-driven festivals. And unlike you and me, who've lived probably most of our life getting some form of salary or check at the end of the month, our cadence is thought through month on month. But a farmer's cadence is thought through harvest cycles.
Crops,
right? And it's really when harvest happens is when they have the ability to spend.
It's a cash
it's
flow
a
thing.
Coincidence that the harvest cycle and the festival come together. And I saw this very interesting, just to double down on this, when we were running a toothpaste business. Now, toothpaste consumption should not be affected by festivals. Technically.
Absolutely.
And it's not. By the way, it's not. Before I tell you what I'm doing, it's actually not. But for some reason in UP, our business used to jump in April, May. And we're like, what? Is it that people are brushing more? So we went and checked, offtake data, which is essentially people buying toothpaste from the store.
Tertiaries.
It was flattish, maybe a slight jump, but nothing dramatic. But literally our supply to the retailers used to go up by 20%. And we were wondering, where's it going? Because consumers are not buying. The sentiments during harvest is that, that there's increased cash flow in the system. And because of increased cash flow in the system, cash rotating in the system, there is more money to actually put more inventory
into stocks.
And that's what is happening. So cash flow is not what we think it is, which is month on month. To a large part of this country, cash flow is harvest to harvest. So, and that coincides with, so it's purely rational in many ways, not necessarily emotional.
The other thing that I think happens around festivals is festivals are family celebration time, right? So there's a lot of family consumption that happens, right? especially for example for household goods. If you're going out to buying for many levels of income levels in India, buying an air conditioner for the house is a very big decision, right? So as a result, the whole family partakes in that process. So family consumption is inevitably something that happens because festival time is family time. I think that has an impact, a general sense of celebration and a togetherness that comes together, and as a result, purchasing happens. One of the key triggers that I think, big time sales happen in the US, as you and I both are aware, on
Yeah.
Black Friday. Black
Happens in
Friday
India
is-
also now.
Yeah, absolutely. They've started doing that here as well. But Black Friday is big in the US. Then there's something called, I think, the Signal Sale or something in China, which is a big time overnight sale, something like that they have. So now the marketers have come into play in India around Diwali, right? You know you're going to get 40% or 50% of your sale in that 1 month. So now how do you drive supply and advertising in such a way that now it's a question of getting the market share in that 1 month? Because you're going to get, it's going to be a very large number. How do you make sure you get the largest piece of that pie?
That's a good chicken and egg situation. I was going to bring that point. Do you think that most of this festival sale is actually marketer led, or is it consumer led?
I think
The chicken or the
it
egg
was
came
not. Originally it was not, but now marketers are never going to let a good opportunity go. So it's driven by that. As we know, those big day sales,
Yeah.
and Amazon and Flipkart
Correct.
have these big sales all the time, which drives that. But I think some of the festival sale is now being driven by marketing
So
rupees.
in all likelihood, if I have to draw a linear path, there was a consumer need at first.
Yeah.
The marketer said, listen, let's encash on this need. Let's make sure that, I'm participating, getting the right amount of share. So there are these events that come in, the big Diwali sale, the big Republic Day sale,
Yeah.
the big Onam sale, or the big Dhanteras
and it
sale.
gets a self-driven energy of itself.
Self-driven. And for some reason now consumers, even if I want to buy a refrigerator in the month of September, I'll wait till Diwali because I know that there will be a retailer who will give me a good discount. So it's almost like a cyclical, whatever you call it, right? Self-fulfilling in many ways.
I would expect, and I think it'll be interesting to find some data on this, said that August and September, a lot of people must be delaying purchases because October, November is going to be sale time, right? I'm sure.
I have delayed
Wow.
saying I wanted to get a TV. I said, you know what, let's just wait for
For a
the
bit.
big sale that's going to happen on
Yeah.
Amazon. And you know what, I probably will get some discount.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I'm not a discount hunter in general, but that's how I'm wired to think now.
Especially for a non-essential product, where you can push purchase. So I think definitely there is a clustering of purchase behavior happening around festivals, even more so, which I'm sure happens with Black Friday sales.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
absolutely.
sure Black Friday is November sometime, right? End November or something.
Halloween or Thanksgiving?
Something like that. So just before that, I'm sure 1 or 2 months must be delaying of purchases that happen. Consumers are smart.
So I think while there is a certain, the chicken is that there's a need to buy something new.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's following the egg, saying that, listen, I know even if I want to buy it in a particular month, I'm happy to wait for 2 months during in time for Diwali, because someone's going to give me a sale. The one thing I find incredibly adorable in India is that when, of course, we've seen it with cars, but I find it very endearing that when a refrigerator comes to your home, it's almost like a family member's come home. There's a little bit of a small puja. There's a Shubh Arambh. It's a big part of, like you said, it's emotional.
It's very
sense
much
of progress.
Car as well. Cars are such a absolutely.
You break the coconut.
All of that.
The
Big
dealer
time.
inherently does a puja for you before you
yeah.
get the car.
It's a given.
So it's a given. But just to have the refrigerator come home and you feel it's good. You don't want to remove the plastic. You want to keep it prim and proper. It's almost like a part of the family is someone from is come from a long trip type. So I find that incredibly endearing.
Yeah. I think this it's interesting you bring up that point because it's an intertwining of faith with consumer behavior, marketing and consumer behavior, which is inherent. And it's very interesting that even though there is clustering of purchase behavior in other countries, like Black Friday or whatever sales in China, etc., they're not based on faith, right? Whereas here, very, very clear and strong connects with faith, whether it's bringing a new car or a refrigerator and all of that. It's incredible how faith has a big part to play. Christmas is a big time for gifting, but that's more about family, gifting, not really faith as much. Whereas in India, it's very much related to religion and faith.
And I think it just goes back to your point, right? It's every time we buy something like a electronic, like a car, it's a new beginning. In fact, they say, Diwali mein you wear new clothes. It's like there's it's like a switch that's happening. So you got to do something different. So it's a new beginning. And that refrigerator that you buy or the TV that you buy is not so much the TV, but it's a sign of hope in many ways. It's almost rooted.
Tomorrow's better than yesterday. That's the crucial driver that people are looking
And
for.
the Shubh Arambh, which is like, I'm starting something new, is so rooted to it. Interesting. So I remember when I was shifting houses, one rental to another rental, and my grandmother called me, says, when are you shifting? I said, I'm shifting on this next Tuesday. Don't shift on Tuesday. I'm like, why? Tuesday is not a good day to start something new.
Auspicious.
No, auspicious, there is something new. And therefore, starting something new is so rooted to us, and that we want to attach it to something. It's an auspicious day. It's where the moon is placed or the size of the moon. We attach it to those sort of things, and that sort of cadence. So very religious.
So given all that, it's not surprising at all that we have such a large percentage of sales happening around festivals. And as we were talking earlier, this is around all kinds of festivals, whether it's Diwali, Onam, Durga Puja in Bengal or with Bengali households. There's so many different drivers.
Yeah, so both from a consumer need and from the market forces, I think we found out a few. So yes, we know that festivals across the world, there's a large portion of the sale, but in India it's a little different. It's almost spiritual. It's almost religious.
Absolutely, and it's concentrated far greater, and it's been an interesting conversation because while we find this an interesting way to look at it, but we find after you take the layers off that there's so much more to it.
Yeah.
Great I'm blown moment.
Fantastic. We look forward to seeing you guys again next week. If there's any comments that you might have about this episode or any of the past episodes, do drop in the comment section on all our pages. See you soon.